Hey, Happy New Year, you hoople heads. I'm stuck inside, freezing. It's about minus 52 with the wind chill, I think. So I'm in here wearing a turtleneck sweater with the heat turned up on high and still kind of shivering. Maybe that's because I have a cold, cold heart. I hope not. Um, Maybe this year I ought to resolve to write a new poem every day, like apparently Woody Guthrie did in 1941 regarding songs. And among other things, he had said, brush teeth if every day, if have any. I hope he was able to keep some teeth through 41 and keep to that one anyhow. And then notwithstanding, I do remember Pete Seeger once being interviewed and saying that Guthrie was able to write a song at breakfast and a song at supper time. And I mean, he certainly was something, but I think these folk singers, can have pretty tall folk tales perhaps. And, maybe Guthrie was able to keep that up for a time, but he ended up tragically with Huntington's disease in an institution, eating his food out of a trough on the floor, and he completely had lost his mind, sort of thing. So I don't imagine he was doing that. And I always find there seems to be this rather similar theme with greatness and tragedy, and it's so sad to me. Like Buddy Bolden, who's credited as being the founder of American jazz, winds up in an institution for the rest of his days. I can't remember exactly what happened in his case, but he just completely lost it. He's gone, and well, it's just sad to me. Here you are, you create American jazz, or at least credited with that, and you wind up in the loony bin. And please forgive the political incorrectness of the loony bin. I said that to sort of make the point more than to speak ill of people in there. Another one too, like John Coltrane, man, does Love Supreme, right? Masterpiece. He, interviewed after that. What's your next task, John? He's like, well, he doesn't figure he can reach any higher musical heights. Well, in all seriousness, I think I'd like to become a saint. And then he dies shortly thereafter of a heroin overdose. So I hope that, in spite of how tragic things are at times, at least some of the triumphs of those painful tragedies are able to live on. At least most of the time, I hope so. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna do a poem here, but I wanted to say a couple little caveats here. I mentioned things like supposedly downtrodden or something like that, and I don't mean to say that those groups I sort of hint at have gotten everything or even at true equality or even close to that, but I think there's been some very sizable steps made over the years. And the other thing is, one of the lines to say is no gimps in show business. And yes, I'm quite familiar with, actually not that familiar, if I'm struggling to think of his name, Josh Blue, and the fellow from, the kid from The Last Comic Standing with CP, whose name I can't remember, and the fellow from Breaking Bad, whose name I also can't remember. So that just further illustrates my point. These characters aren't household names. So that's that. I'm going to dedicate this to Matt. Doesn't have anything to do with him, but I hope he had a good New Year. I know he was introducing dogs to each other, and sometimes that can be a bit murky. I hope nobody got bitten, and certainly that nobody got rabies, because that would be a terrible, terrible way to ring in the new year. So, that being said, I'm going to read this to you now, and look at this. I'm so cold and out of sorts, I have to even read the title. It's shameful, I can't even remember the title of my own work. Hope I didn't plagiarize it. It's called Forgive Them, for they know not what they cannot see. It's bad enough hobbling about in pain, receiving more charity than love. Perhaps I should be grateful that the will is generally good and I'm not a total pariah. But if I can't keep it together, your next pity kiss might earn you a lacerated tongue. My happier moments, I'm bewildered by the ignorance of the so-called downtrodden, unable to recognize their progress to relative privilege, while someone like me struggles to stand a mere 40 or so years removed from institutionalization. In my darker moments, I'm sick. Imagine receiving a fairly positive review on your life story, where the author's thesis was that you'd mostly managed to stave off pity. And imagine how ludicrous that would sound if your life story were black or gay or female. It's wonderfully empowering to know that if I am to succeed, I'll be a true fucking pioneer. But how many pioneers have dodged tragedy the way I supposedly have pity? Maybe I've taken too long to get to the point. I suffer, of course, some visible aspects of cerebral palsy, but this brain damage manifests in more sinister ways. It's like having environmental illness and being deformed at once. I don't have the former, but suffer a double stigma nonetheless. Try going about life with my dysfunctional urinary tract. No accidents yet, but no treatment either. Josh, you are peeing better without the catheter. Well, then we should probably take the catheter out. It's a Sisyphean curse where the struggle usually begins anew in an hour or two while I am conscious, or sometimes 3, thanks to the pill I've decided to take. But I risk kidney damage to combat in every 20-minute flow. And the difficulties are magnified in company, although less so when I'm drinking. But I'd rather not be perpetually drunk unless I have to go to high school again. Someone once said to me, I bet you wouldn't wish this on your worst enemy. On the contrary, I'd give it to my best pal for a few days so that he might know me better. So, no gimps in show business. Most often I can't stick around long enough to do business or even properly make friends, and on a wild night someone supposedly righteous calls me out on not staying for the show. I ask you, is it more just that I should be a permanent shut-in? Or should I do my piece and leave as I must, in spite of appearances? If you can acquiesce to your privilege, I might be able to forgive you what you cannot see. Happy New Year, everybody.